Pablo Gunner here at Albuquerque Comic Con 2017 to tell you why I'm right that Final Fantasy VII is the greatest Final Fantasy.
You're wrong, Pablo Gunner. I got 113 reasons why, and that's every other Final Fantasy game. Suck it.
Pablo Gunner here to tell you why I'm right that Final Fantasy VII is the greatest Final Fantasy game of all time.
This is why you're wrong. Final Fantasy I, it set the tone for everything. Literally their final chance, and it was the greatest.
Number one reason, Tifa. My God, is she gorgeous and a badass to boot.
2, 3, and 4, yeah, sometimes we had to get the Japanese version to get the numbers right, but you know what? Amazing games, amazing characters, and hey, we get the reboots on our later system, so upgrade there.
Number 2, Barrett. He's a swole black dude with a giant gun for an arm. How hardcore and awesome is that?
4, 5, 6, I think the aesthetic, the je ne sais quoi, I don't know, the ambiance, the music, such a simple, sweet time.
This one doesn't even need a number applied to it. It's Cloud Strife, because he's easily the most recognizable, awesome, and iconic Final Fantasy character of all time, much less video game. And you know one of the reasons why? His Buster Sword.
8, 9, I think we can all agree. Gun sword, that's about all you need to know there. 10. The truly defining moment of the Final Fantasy series. I think everyone can agree. Young, old, black, white, Jew, Muslim, we can all agree Final Fantasy X was the best.
Final Fantasy VII is one of the few games that's actually getting a full-blown remake. That's how great it is. Suck on that. Tone bone. Boom.
10, 2, 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, it's no longer turn-based, but you know what? Still great games, great concepts, great characters. Updated graphics. And now we can stare at bunny girls a lot more than we used to.
Last but not least, Sephiroth. I mean, we all know he's the greatest video game villain of all time. Enough said.
Final Fantasy 15. You know, for all its storyline, for all its amazing, I don't know what the kids are calling it now, CGI, cutscenes, I think we can all agree the food, how that looks in-game is truly a reason why anyone would choose anything but Final Fantasy VII.
I'm right that Final Fantasy VII is the greatest Final Fantasy game ever made. What do you think of that?
I think it's pretty good. My favorite is 10, but me and my mom are currently trying to finish Final Fantasy VII right now.
Okay. You're looking forward to the remake?
Oh yeah. We're really excited about it.
I'm Tone Bone, and this is why Pablo Gunner is wrong. Final Fantasy VII is not the greatest game. I'm here with the true emissary of Final Fantasy X, a true, great, holy entity. Who is your favorite character that's not you?
My favorite character that is not me, I would have to say would be Lulu.
Okay.
She possesses so much power. She's also like that little motherly figure that we all know and sometimes don't necessarily love, but they really just push you to be a better person. And you throw in some magic in there, I mean, God, who doesn't love the magician in the team?
That dress, that's the real magic. How did she get to do that? Well, with the belts too, that's some real seamstress work right there.
I'm speaking from a person, a female, the male perspective. You've got the
right.
You know, there's good stuff going on there.
Yeah, the fashion definitely a lot more. It's not just a little pink dress with a little red overcoat, just some tank tops, all that. No, maybe the boots. I think for Look, how long would it take to lace those up?
I'd say, man, if you're good at it, 10 minutes and you're ready to go.
Right. That's the only credit I give Final Fantasy VII, those boots. Now, lastly, it's not, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But if you had the main critique of 7, what would it be?
Cloud in his love life, man, he's all over the place. And you really, really, really wanted him to be with Aerith because she was so sweet. And then, bam, she was taken away from you. And it was like, Tifa, you didn't want him to end up with her. But he did, because they just tore at your heartstrings there. Give him a girl he deserves. Cloud is the hero that we all need. He needs a girlfriend we deserve. That would be, I guess, my best critique.
100% agree.
Pablo Gunner here with my number one reason why Final Fantasy VII is the greatest Final Fantasy. Tifa.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite Final Fantasy?
That's a good question. I think it would have to be, at this point, maybe Crisis Core.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, awesome. How come?
I think that's the one that I played the longest and the most of.
Okay.
I also like that it came, or a lot of the characters also came from Final Fantasy VII. Also, told the story of what happened a little bit before Final Fantasy VII. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy VII, not the greatest game, but we do have an emissary from 7 here. Now, I was just talking to Miss Yuna, and I did agree that there is one good thing about Final Fantasy VII, and that is your boots.
Thank you.
And so I truly appreciate the aesthetic that you give us, and the overall look. But everybody else, they're all blocky looking. It kind of looks like. What's your opinion of the fashion of your teammates there?
I think that they dress pretty cool, but they could definitely do better.
I certainly agree. Now, what in your time off from saving the world from various evil forces, what do you like to do?
I like to go through my collection of different materials, sort them out by color and different abilities like that.
That's certainly a lot better than going around a sphere grid, isn't it? I mean, that's just tedious. But so there is good and bad, but overall, 7 is the worst. Now, the last thing I would like to ask you here. Now we're all good guys here, but I would like. What is your strongest critique that you have about 10?
10? I really like 10. It was one of my first ones. And I just love the music in it and all of the different graphics in it.
But if you had to make fun of it for something,
It's a hard one.
would it be Tidus's laugh?
Oh yeah. Just about to say that.
That's very true. I'll agree that the only true negative is his laugh, but I think it brings us all together, and that's what this is about. Who's right? Who's wrong?
Pablo Gunner here with Samesaran and...
Don't even know my name.
Okay, that's fine. So I am here to ask you, what is your favorite Final Fantasy, and why? Fantasy too, if you want, but Final Fantasy video game, and why?
12 because I like Fran and her costume design.
And you?
8 because it's far superior to 7.
How?
It's just leaps and bounds above what 7 did, especially in terms of graphically and gameplay-wise.
Okay. Still didn't have the gravitas of all, those iconic characters, but that's fine. Everybody's, allowed to have their own opinion, I guess. Pablo Gunner here with some cosplayers to find out what their favorite Final Fantasy game is.
Final Fantasy X.
Why?
That was the first fantasy game I actually played, apart from my brothers, and completed. It's a good story. Yeah.
You're cosplaying from it, right?
Yeah.
And you?
Final Fantasy VI,
Why?
because Kefka's the best Final Fantasy villain ever.
That's obviously, well, I was going to say debatable, but just wrong, because it is Sephiroth. We all know that. I mean, villains, period, But yeah, it's definitely Final Fantasy VII. What do you got to say about that?
I gotta say, it's like comparing the Joker to Darth Vader, man. Sephiroth's Darth Vader, Kefka's the Joker. what type of villain do you like more? That's what it comes down to.
I like Sephiroth.
See, there we go. There we go. Not to mention Cloud Strife. I mean, he's so handsome and great, and then he has that awesome Buster Sword, huh?
But he's just Zack, or at least he thinks he's Zack. He's not his own character.
It's all about Vincent. Vincent, come on.
All right, we were a little split here, but I'm stern in my position, okay? Final Fantasy VII is the best Final Fantasy. Pablo Gunner here with...
Alexis, or Cloud, as I'm playing.
That's right, Cloud Strife with...
My Buster Sword.
That's right, because Final Fantasy VII is the best Final Fantasy, right?
Indeed.
That's right, that's what I want to hear. Where have you been all my life, Cloud?
Out adventuring, as one tends to do.
That's what I want to hear, because Cloud Strife is a true hero, always there to save the day. That's why you're one of the few that actually got your own movie, right?
I did.
We haven't seen that with anybody else. So why is Final Fantasy VII your favorite?
I don't know. I really enjoy the characters, and the storyline's just so iconic. And what can you say when a character is cross-dressing for their friend? You gotta love them.
Right. And everybody loves them. Men, women, children. Everybody loves Cloud Strife. All of them. So there you go. You have it. Final Fantasy VII is the best Final Fantasy.